Tonight, a family in Mombasa is mourning the death of their kin, who was one of the Kenyan doctors sent to Cuba for the exchange program. Dr. Hamisi Ali Juma committed suicide under unclear circumstances barely 6 months into the program. Now, Citizen TV is in receipt of a distress letter signed by 40 doctors in Cuba, including the deceased. The letter was sent to the Parliamentary Committee of Health, pleading with the legislators to address what the doctors have termed as numerous challenges that they were facing that have gone unanswered. The letter further reads in part, there's still more there. They're saying that they have constantly asked Ministry of Health for details of the cause, accommodation and welfare, all that in vain. It still further explains that there's still more. It says they were forced to board the plane with threats of tough disciplinary actions if they did not do so. In the letter, the doctors explain that they currently live in unbearable conditions. And I want to show you what they say. They live in unbearable conditions, sharing small rooms with no or little ventilation. In the end, the doctors continue to say that they live in very humiliating conditions. Currently in Cuba, they claim their concerns have really been ignored. And for the family of Dr. Hamisi Ali Juma, it's too little too late, just like Francis Mtalaki reports.
They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, but for the family of Dr. Ali Hamisi Juma, the picture holds 1,000 questions of how their kin, who was in his mid-30s, determined to further his career in family medicine, could suddenly take his own life barely 6 months into a program meant to enhance his skills.
Habari tunazopata ni zile zinazoenea kwa mtandao, kwa hivyo tusubiri kusikia kupata habari kutoka Cuba kulingana na sababisho cha kifo cha ndugu yetu daktari.
The family says the late Ali Juma was constantly complaining of poor working conditions in Cuba, and at one point he even lodged a formal request to return home, but that was never to be.
Walikoko maisha kule kidogo dhiki na ilikoko yamemshinda na yeye alikoko yataka kurudi.
Juma was one of the 50 doctors sent to Cuba under government sponsorship to study family medicine in the framework of the Memorandum of Understanding between Kenya and the Caribbean nation, the Ministry of Health and the County Government of Mombasa.
Walilazimisha kuishi wawili watatu katika nyumba moja ndogo ambayo haina ventilation, conditions ambazo wengi wao walikuwa hawajazoea, na pia communication na watu nyumbani ikakuwa pia ni ngumu sana. Tukumbuka kwamba Cuba pia ni nchi ambayo iko na zile embargoes za Amerika.
They were also under a lot of pressure and intimidation because they kept saying that they were being told that if you opt out of the program, then what is going to happen is you will face disciplinary action in your counties.
The Kenyan doctors in Cuba are accusing the Kenyan embassy in Cuba and the Ministry of Health for not responding to their numerous complaints, including coercion and threats by Kenyan and Cuban authorities, warning the doctors not to walk out of the program or speak to the media about their concerns.
We cannot treat our own doctors in such inhuman conditions that lead them to being depressed and to a point of giving up in life. I mean, you look at our the Cuban doctors in our country, they're living like kings. They have houses, they're being paid a salary 3 times much higher than the salaries of our own counterparts in Kenya. They can be able to go back to their country for treatment.
The union has since written to all relevant authorities raising their concerns, including Parliamentary Committee on Health, on March 4, 2019, detailing the breach of contract from allowances, communication and accommodation, as well as the nature of the program. The Doctors Union now want all the 49 doctors remaining in Cuba back to Kenya, or the deal looked afresh. Francis Mtalaki, Citizen TV, Mombasa.